If you lived through your 20s or 30s back in the 1990s, you remember a feeling that is almost completely extinct today. It was the absolute quiet luxury of disappearing. Think back for a moment. When you closed your front door behind you in 1994, you were simply gone. There was no GPS quietly tracking your every movement, no work emails vibrating endlessly against your hip, and best of all, there was no unspoken social contract demanding an immediate reply. If someone called your house and you weren't there, they heard a simple dial tone, or maybe the friendly whir of a magnetic tape answering machine. And do you know what they thought? They just assumed you were out in the world, living your life. You could walk through a park, sit at a diner with a paper book, or drive down a quiet highway without a single distraction pulling at your mind. Your thoughts were truly your own. You were completely present in whatever room, street, or memory you happened to be creating. We didn't realize it back then, but that off-grid solitude was a rare kind of freedom, a peace of mind that we might never fully capture again, but one that remains wrapped in the warm nostalgia of a time when being unavailable was simply part of being alive. There was a time when communication had physical weight, real, tangible substance. If you loved someone or missed a friend living across the country, you didn't just fire off a 2-second text with a quick emoji. You sat down. You picked up a piece of paper and a pen. And in that quiet moment, you had to choose your words carefully because there was no backspace key on a piece of stationery. Every stroke of ink carried intent. Every word was a deliberate gift of your time. And then there was the waiting, a patient, gentle anticipation that made receiving a reply feel like a small celebration. Even everyday messages carried a unique kind of magic. When you came home at the end of a long day, there was that tiny, hypnotic red light blinking on the kitchen counter answering machine. You'd walk over, press play, and hear the actual voice of someone who cared enough to reach out. Whatever was happening in the world was waiting right there for you, right in your home, completely on your terms. We didn't have instant access to everyone, everywhere, all the time. But because of that, the connections we did make felt deeply meaningful, deliberate, and undeniably real. Maybe it's time we bring a little bit of that weight back into how we talk to the people we love. Isn't it fascinating how our memories love to quietly edit out the frustration? We look back on the past with a soft, gentle nostalgia, completely forgetting that living in the analog world was heavy, slow, and full of everyday friction. Think back for a moment. If you were lost in an unfamiliar city at 10 o'clock at night, there was no friendly GPS voice guiding you home. Instead, you were struggling to unfold a massive, stubborn paper map across the steering wheel, squinting under a dim, flickering dome light, desperately searching for a street sign. And if you had a playful argument with friends over who played that actor in that one obscure 80s movie, well, you couldn't just pull a tiny supercomputer out of your pocket to settle it. That debate simply hung in the air for weeks, lingering until someone finally wandered into a local video store and read the back of a VHS box. Even paying bills was an ordeal. It meant checkbooks, paper envelopes, licking stamps, and taking a quiet walk down the block to drop them into the heavy blue mailbox on the corner. The world back then wasn't streamlined. It didn't bend to our instant demands. It required our presence, our effort, and above all, our patience. In a world that moves so slowly, we actually had time to feel the journey. Do you remember when the modern world first came knocking at our doors? Back then, getting on the internet wasn't a constant background state like it is today. It was a deliberate, scheduled event. You couldn't just pull a phone out of your pocket. No, you had to negotiate with your entire household just to tie up the landline for an hour or two. Then came the ritual. You clicked, connect, lean back in your chair, and listen to that unforgettable sound, that screeching, frantic, wonderfully mechanical symphony of a 56K modem negotiating its place in cyberspace. It sounded like a digital mothership landing right in your living room, but to us, it was the sweet sound of the future arriving. And when that 56K speed upgrade finally arrived, my goodness, it felt like pure rocket fuel. Today we lose our patience if a high-definition video takes more than 3 seconds to load. But back then, sitting there and waiting 2 full minutes for a single photograph to render, line by painstaking line, wasn't an annoyance at all. It was an absolute miracle. You were sitting in your room, bathed in the soft blue glow of a heavy monitor, holding your breath in anticipation. With every slow row of pixels that appeared on the screen, you felt a genuine sense of wonder. You weren't just looking back now, I find myself caught in a strange kind of nostalgia. I miss that era, and at the exact same time, I really don't. Let's be honest with ourselves for a moment. Nobody actually misses breaking down on a pitch-black highway with zero way to call for help. I certainly don't miss blowing into dusty game cartridges, manually rewinding rented VHS tapes, or praying a scratched compact disc wouldn't skip right at the best part of the song. We forget how frustrating those tiny friction points used to be. But despite all of that, there is something I miss deeply. I miss the quiet. I miss a time when technology was something you visited. You walked over to the family computer in the corner of the room. You checked your email or logged onto the web. And when you were done, you simply stepped away. It was a tool, a destination, rather than an all-encompassing environment that you live inside 24 hours a day. Over the past few decades, we have gained every single modern convenience imaginable. Answers to any question at our fingertips, instant connections across oceans, and endless entertainment in our pockets. It is incredible, really. But when I sit in the stillness of the evening, I realize what we gave up along the way. We traded away the silence to get it. And sometimes I wonder if we can ever buy a little piece of that quiet back.